Okay, just very, very brief one today. This is something I've long felt, to be honest with you, and I don't. I think possibly it might be controversial for some people that might watch this. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. Genuinely don't know. But I just think fox hunting is just it's just a cunt's activity. I've got to be brutally honest. I don't like it. Now, a lot of people in the sort of more reactionary sphere, maybe the more nationalist sphere, they would kind of view fox hunting as kind of like trad and based somehow. And, you know, this is part of our heritage and all this kind of thing. I mean, I suppose it is part of our heritage. But I don't really... I just find it viscerally unpleasant. Everything about it. Now, I am someone who's like, half my family are absolute country folk. They're about as country folk as you could get. They're all farmers. My grandfather, well, originally he was a butcher and then he became a farmer. But that whole side of the family, on both sides, are dairy farmers. Going way back, like, I'm not a, well, I mean, I kind of did, I'm basically a townie myself. However, I do like to think I've got one foot in the sort of, you know, the countryside camp, at least, you know, in terms of ancestry. I just think it's cruel, and I don't like people taking pleasure from, like, tearing apart an animal by a pack of dogs and that animal dying in kind of, you know, panic and fear and being torn apart by it. Just seems just like, it's just gross. Like, in this day and age, that you can kill the animal in a humane fashion. You can shoot the animal. You can cull fox numbers. I totally understand that. I've got members of my family who keep chickens. I understand, like, you know, foxes can they come in and they just kill. They are like, you know. I understand all of this, but I still don't. I always will feel a visceral reaction when I see braying twats who invariably make up the large part of fox hunting, as far as I can ascertain. Braying twats, and a lot of them are townies that go on these hunts. Now, I mean, my grandfather, he was like, well, he was never a fan of foxes. He was an admirer of horses. He loved horses. He would watch horse racing. He would never bet as a point of principle. He was a Christian man, and he absolutely did not bet. But he would sit there and watch the races on Channel 4 just to admire, and he'd talk about the different breeds of horses and that. So he would kind of like, sometimes the hunt would walk through and he'd go and look at them and he'd admire them. And he's from the Duke of Beaufort's lands. And he used to talk about it, you know, the village that he's from would always kind of look upon themselves. It's like, you know, we're the Duke's men. Probably going way back, you know, it's probably 800 years. And there's the local village which is a bit further away, which isn't part of the Duke's land, and they'd kind of look down on them and say, yeah, it's not the Duke's men, we're the Duke's men. So there was always this kind of like local pride in the Duke of Beaufort, the Duke of Beaufort's hunt. But he still, like, when he became a farmer, he didn't permit them to hunt on his land, because they'd just tear around the place and they'd tear things up and they wouldn't treat it well. And he actually wrote like an account of his life. I suppose you could call it, like, not really an autobiography, but he wrote an account of his life, his village life, kind of self-published, nice little book. And he would say that the men on the Duke's hunt, most of them were like, they were kind of they were what he called, they were sporting gentlemen of the time. A lot of them were doctors in the city, the nearby city. You know, they were doctors or they were merchants. They were not actually country folk, and they were going there to hobnob, and they were going there to be seen, and they were going there, you know, to possibly do deals and that kind of thing. And we actually have, my mother used to dine out on this. We actually have, I don't know what this guy, I think he's a great uncle to my mother or something like that. He's a great uncle or a cousin, or maybe even a second cousin. He unseated, this caused great scandal. He unseated one of the Duke's men because the Duke's men came on his land during a fox hunt, and the dogs set upon his dog, and he felt that the man wasn't showing enough I don't know, he didn't seem to care that one of his hounds had attacked his dog. So like, I'm quite proud of this myself. I don't know tangentially how much I'm related to this guy, but there is apparently some connection. He unseated one of the Duke's men, pulled him down off his horse, threw him on the threw him in the mud. Like, and I say, I'm all for that. I'm all for unseating these pompous twats, riding around the country to normal country folk and tearing across their land and treating it like some big jolly day out for Bristol sporting gentlemen. Fuck them. That's what I think. And when you see the modern lot, I don't know, when you're going back to the actual sort of like the how much rabid-eyed joy they seem to get from tearing an animal apart, I just don't like it. Nothing about it I like at all. You know, I feel the same about gypsies, quite frankly. Gypsies going hair coursing. Billy Joe Saunders, Fat Billy, doing a load of coke and going around with his pals, you know, pursuing the murder of a poor defenceless animal from a pack of dogs. There's no difference. It's the same thing. You can say the fox hunters have got better aesthetics. Well, that's about it. Probably better manners. Although, I'm not sure they would, in all honesty. And they're all the same. They're all just doing coke. It's just like all these fox hunters as well. Toot toot. They're all a bunch of hooray Henrys, larpers and bluffers. I don't have anything good about fox hunting. I know some people come back, oh well, it's kind of like, you know, it props up people and there's all these country trades, you know, squires and all this kind of stuff and all the tradition. Well, fair enough, whatever. But I still don't think you can support the murder of an animal like that. And some people want, oh, the murder of an animal. But it is a murder of an animal because you could just kill it humanely with a high-powered rifle. Job done. And then you could go off to the races. You could go on a nice, I don't know, a nice trip out on a horse. Why do you have to tear an animal apart? Why is that such a big thrill for you? I don't know, it's just it's a visceral dislike I have for it. And, well, I just thought I'd share it. Some people won't like this. Some people go, oh my God, this is totally blue-pilled. Well, maybe it is. Fine. You're more than welcome to, like, I will be blue-pilled and cringe and all these kind of labels you want to apply. But I'm just not really up for tearing animals apart with, you know, in this manner at all, really. It's weird labels that people like James Delingpole apply to things. You know, he wants to refer to people as the out-group. Well, there's nothing more I would like to be than the out-group. The in-group is James Delingpole and people who fucking are fooled by him. So, you know, I don't like it. I don't like them. There you go.